Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. And today I figured I'd go ahead and answer some subscriber mailbag questions. And of course, if you are a subscriber, you're able to see our mailbag community post, which you guys left a lot of questions on. So we'll go ahead and jump right into what you guys want to know about the Philadelphia Eagles. So with Sean, who says, if Washington loses to the Panthers, we still have hope at winning the division. But if they win, who should we get? Jamar Chase or someone else? So yes, technically, if the Eagles can still win the NFC East, we'll probably talk more about that here in just a little bit. But if the Eagles were to lose out, or at least lose one of their next two, and therefore eliminate themselves from the NFC East contention, you are looking at more than likely a top 10 draft pick. As it currently stands, the order looks like this: Jacksonville, Jets, Bengals, Carolina, Atlanta, Miami, Philly there at 7, Dallas at 8 because they won on Sunday, and the Chargers and Giants. So the Eagles can move as high as number 4. You can't go any higher because Cincinnati has a record that is, even if they were to lose out, they would still be ahead of Philadelphia. 1, 2, and 3 are basically set. Just the order of Jets versus Jags could change a little bit. But 4 through really 10 can still change. So the Eagles will most likely have a top 10 pick and potentially could have a top 6, top 5 pick. So as I've said and chronicled here on the channel a lot, they have very specific draft needs. Now, it's not like they need, players at every single position. The offensive line comes back. They should be healthy there. The running backs, to me, are still very good. I think the defensive line is good as well. But my 4 biggest draft needs are wide receiver, linebacker, and corner. And I throw defensive end in there at the same time because you can never have enough pass rushers, right? It's kind of the whole age-old motto. You can never have enough pass rushers. But to me, wide receiver and linebacker are interchangeable, 1 and 2. You have some decent pieces at both sides. I think Jalen Reagor is going to be a good wide receiver. I do like Travis Fulgham and Greg Ward because I like TJ Edwards and I like Alex Singleton. But you need a superstar in both of those areas. And if you're inside the top 10, you asked about Jamar Chase. Yes, that is where I would go. I would go with Jamar Chase. If I was sitting there at 6 and it was either Chase or Parsons or Waddle, I would take Chase over Micah Parsons, the linebacker. As I said, Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. But you can't go wrong with either one of those 3. And it honestly feels like in this year's top 10, every single player getting mocked to the top 10 right now, whether it's a cornerback in Patrick Surtain, or it's a pass rusher in Gregory Rosse, or offensive tackle in Sewell, they all look very, very good. I think as long as Philadelphia is inside the top 10, they're going to have a very good shot at getting a real difference maker and a player that they have not been able to get really the past couple of years since the last time they were inside the top 10 whenever they drafted Lane Johnson. Let me ask you guys this. You guys want a high draft pick? Do you guys want that top 10 draft pick, or do you want a playoff berth? Because this is tough. Because I want both. I don't know how, and you can't have both. It's one or the other. Which one would you guys want? Let me know down below in the comment section. Curious where you guys are at on this. They win out. Washington loses. They're in the postseason. See what happens with Jalen Hurts. They've won with backup quarterbacks before. Hint, hint. Or you just want them to lose, get that high draft pick, and rebuild. Let me know down below in the comment section. All right, let's go over here to Joel, who says, I think Jalen Hurts will start next year. It's looking like it. Now, there are all these rumors and all these talking heads on ESPN who are reading into, different Adam Schefter tweets and different NFL Network stuff, and they're all saying, Carson Wentz for sure wants out. I don't think it's guaranteed at the rate we're going. And Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback in 2021, barring some sort of crazy bad play on Sunday and then the following Sunday against the Washington football team, barring him looking like absolute garbage. It looks like they're going to probably try to trade Carson Wentz and then go ahead and roll with Jalen Hurts, which honestly, based on what I've seen, I like it. Now, it's still too early. 2 games, even 4 games with Jalen Hurts is just not enough to know for a fact that he's going to be the quarterback of the future. But here's what I've seen. His ceiling is Russell Wilson. This is as close to Russell Wilson as we have seen coming out of the National Football League in a very long time. Because we've seen Lamar Jackson, we've seen Kyler Murray, we've seen good quarterbacks who are good. That's just like Russell Wilson. We have not seen one who is built in the same mold as Russell Wilson. A little bit taller, but still the same overall, I think, playing ability where he's a passing first quarterback. Hurts can throw the football, great accuracy, as good as Russell Wilson can. That's Russell Wilson's strength, but can also move out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. We have not seen, again, a Russell Wilson type quarterback since Jalen Hurts, but that does not mean he's going to be Russell Wilson. It's just like I think the ceiling could be Russell Wilson. So I do think it will be Hurts. I still worry about the whole Carson Wentz situation and get rid of a quarterback who at one point was the potential MVP of the league and to me can still play. You go back to film of last year. The guy can still play. I just wonder what we're going to be able to get for him if and when they go ahead and trade him. But yeah, I do think that, it's looking like Hurts is going to be the quarterback in 2021, but we're going to have a long offseason. Anything can happen in the offseason, obviously we'll cover it here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what do you guys think? Should Hurts be the starter already in 2021? Would you want them to say, hey, bye Carson, Hurts is our guy? If you do, drop a like. Let me see you get some likes in this video. We're trying to get over 100 here. If you guys are on board the Hurts train, as I think a lot of people so far are in Philadelphia. Logando, a subscriber here on the show, he says, would you rather lose out for a high pick or win out and make the playoffs? We talked about this just a couple seconds ago, but honestly, I can't decide between either one. I would like to go to the postseason. I'm a big postseason guy. I think going to the postseason and getting Jalen Hurts postseason play is a big deal. Because what if he plays really well next year and then plays his first playoff game and struggles? Because that happens with young quarterbacks. So I would rather go to the postseason. I want a high draft pick, don't get me wrong, but I would much rather go to the postseason. And like we said, it's still technically possible. And so, who knows? We'll see. We'll go ahead and see what happens. Before we keep going, make sure you guys go ahead and jump in on the betting deals happening with our friends at BetUS, the place that I go for all of my sports betting. Go to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code Eagles125 for 125% deposit bonus. I did the exact same thing. I went ahead, had chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Put my $100 down. Promo code. Now I had $225 to bet on really any games that I want. Not just Eagles, not just NFL, but NBA starting up yesterday as well. Can bet on those games at the same time. Okay, Matthew says, some news just broke that Dwayne Haskins was spotted at a club, a strip club by the way, and if he had to go through COVID protocols, he would likely not be able to play versus Carolina, and a practice squad guy would take over. How much does this help the chance for the Eagles to make the playoffs, since the main thing we need to happen is Carolina beating Washington? So yeah, you didn't see this. Kind of crazy. Hours after Dwayne Haskins was the starting quarterback with the Washington football team in a losing effort against Seattle at home, he was photographed in a strip club without a mask. I mean, surrounded by people in the D.C. area, and it was to the point that he had to come out and apologize for it on Twitter, which means that it actually did happen. Now, the NFL will not be dealing with him in terms of a rules violation. It will be the team themselves. He had an earlier incident early in the National Football League year where he was, not suspended, but given a big fine. And the question is, will Washington suspend him or fine him? The main issue that we have right now is Alex Smith is he's questionable for Sunday. He's expected to start dealing with a lower leg injury, missed the past couple of games, but I do think Smith is going to play, which wouldn't really factor into Haskins being benched. But if he can't, as you said, it's a practice squad guy. Like Tyler Heineke is their practice squad quarterback. And yes, that would make a massive difference in a game against the Carolina Panthers team that is not great. Right there on like the 4th or 5th pick in the NFL draft. But Matt Rule and company can, get up to go ahead and play a good game against their former head coach in Ron Rivera. This does matter, and this does make a big difference. And honestly, as we keep saying, all that needs to happen for Philadelphia to make the playoffs is to win out and have Washington lose their next two. And so, of course, they play each other week 17, so that's a possibility. And then they play Carolina this coming weekend. And so, yeah, this is big. Now, I don't think Dwayne Haskins was instantly going to make them beat Carolina. He didn't look very good on Sunday and hasn't looked good his entire career. He looked really bad on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. So maybe you'd rather have Haskins than Alex Smith. But if Smith can't go and you're rolling with a practice squad guy, it might boost the Eagles' chances of making the postseason if, of course, we need the first domino to fall, and that would be the Washington football team losing. Kyle Diggs says, how do you watch all the Eagles games since you don't live in Philly? I mean, there is this thing called the internet and NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. Honestly, that's what I use. So NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV is what I use to watch all the games. It's not a plug. It's just that's how most people watch it who don't live in Philly. Although I am jealous because like everyone in Philadelphia can just kind of watch like on local Fox station or local CBS station. Not the case for everyone else who is out of there. And I go to NFL Sunday Ticket DirecTV and it works just fine. Final question here. Let's go Dupio. Dupio? Yes, you say your name? Let's see. Do you think we should get Micah Parsons and trade Carson Wentz to the Colts for a second this year and for a third next year? Honestly, that's a very, very realistic mock trade. I've seen a lot of mock trades coming out here saying like, oh, we should give Wentz and like another first and go to number 1 to get Trevor Lawrence. So somebody DM'd me that yesterday. It was like Wentz and a first for Trevor Lawrence, which is like impossible. It's like, guys, what are we doing? This is a very realistic mock. Okay, Colts would get Carson Wentz, and that seems to be the number 1 destination because Phillip Rivers is getting old. They're not really sold on Jacoby Brissett, and they have Frank Reich, who was the offensive coordinator and apparently the mastermind behind the 2017 Super Bowl run and the reason that Wentz was so good. And the Eagles get a 2021 second, so not a first, but a second, and a 2022 third. Again, that seems very, very likely. And it seems like a very realistic trade deal for Carson Wentz. Now, I would rather get a first for him, obviously. Wouldn't you? Like, what, a first versus a second? But I think a second and a third are very, very likely for a player of Carson Wentz's caliber based on what we've seen this past year. Because that's the issue, right? He was really, really good, but then now he's really, really bad. And so how do you gauge that? Is it the Eagles' fault he's bad? Is it Carson Wentz's fault he's bad? The team trading for him has to go ahead and decide that. And so I do think a mock trade with the Colts getting Wentz and the Eagles getting 2 picks in a second and third round would make sense. And honestly, I'd take it. I'd probably take it right now, just based on the fact that I think a lot of people expect Hurts to be the quarterback, as we said in 2021. And then, getting rid of Wentz saves you a little bit of money, and so might as well go ahead and do it. Quickly, you mentioned Micah Parsons. I am high on Micah Parsons. And honestly, if they take Parsons at 6 or 7 overall or 8 overall over Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle or Gregory Rousseau, I'd be fine with it. He's the best linebacker in the draft, and people are saying he's the best player in the draft. His problem is that he sat out the entire 2020 NFL season because, one, Penn State's terrible, and it's a good thing he sat out, and then two, because the COVID issues that he just didn't want to go ahead and deal with. So I'm fine with the fact he hadn't played in the year, but it's also the reason why he won't be a top 3, top 4 pick. He will fall a little bit and could maybe even sneak out of the top 10 if there's a run on quarterbacks, which Zach Wilson played last night, very real possibility, or Trey Lance or somebody else. So I'm fine with Parsons. I mean, honestly, last year, sitting at 21, Philadelphia, the options that you were going to have was limited because people were going to be able to draft in front of you. At 6, 7, or 8, you're going to have basically your pick of the lot, whether it's wide receiver, linebacker, or somewhere else. And so I think Philadelphia has an easy first-round draft this year if they are, in fact, inside the top 10. There you go. Quickly, before we go ahead and end this video, make sure you guys are subscribed because even though Christmas is here, maybe your gift to me can be a subscribe to the channel as we're trying to go ahead and get to 15,000 subs and also continue to cover the Eagles every single day or almost every single day here on what is the best Eagle channel on YouTube. Non-stop 24/7 coverage, so make sure you guys are subscribed because we're going to be doing not only coverage the next 2 weeks. I mean, listen, like I said, Washington loses, Philadelphia wins. It'll set up Week 17, winner take all, which is exciting. Or they'll go ahead and lose and be a top 10 pick, which means we'll get into draft mode and make you guys up to date on who they could take, when, and where. Again, ultimately, I'm for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday week. Stay safe. Enjoy the family. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your